Hello, I'm Thecia Ellis, and you're listening to this Grandma's Life podcast. And this is January 30th, 1923, 2023. And this is episode 16. And I'm naming it When You Just Don't Feel Like Doing the Work. And I'm glad I've got finally figured stuff out how to do things audio wise where I can get it on regular podcast things and not just on YouTube because I just can't figure out how to get this glare off my. I've watched the YouTube channels and to figure out how to get the glare off my glasses, but there's a few other things I've got to get done and I haven't been able to get it to do it yet. So I've still got the crazy grandma eyes, eye on my glasses because of the glare. But that's fine. That's the way it goes. It is cold. We had a few good days of nice weather, and we have tonight. Well, I think yesterday it started getting cold again. We woke up this morning to some sleet. It was kind of cool because we had thunder sleet. Essentially, it was like there was sleet, but then there was thunder, and it was actually closer to hail. It was getting me pretty big sleet, and I would clarify. I mean, if it was summertime, we would have called it hail for certain. So that that's what we had this morning, and it's I think it's in the teens, maybe low 20s right now. So that means I'm going out and making sure all the animals have fresh water every few hours, and making sure they can get warm and stuff. That part's not hard. It's the getting the water from chunked up and refreshed so they can have water throughout the day. Uh, and the pigs they go through quite a bit of water. They got the 55-gallon barrel, but it's frozen, and so I'm running out there chunking out those rubber tubs that you can get at the farm stores and stuff. Those are nice because you can turn them over, step on them, get all the ice out, and put fresh warm water into it, and it'll last for a couple more hours. So I like those for the winter time. And I've got a pretty decent thing for the birds for most of the winter, but when it stays below freezing like it is going to do for 2 or 3 days here, those rubber tubs or rubber feeding dishes are probably about the best thing I've ever come across. This last Saturday, we finally got the floor pulled up on the bathroom. I cannot believe how long it is taking us to get this dadgum bathroom done. But we've got the floor pulled up, and we've done the measurements so we can figure out what to put holes on the new ones, I believe. But this is a stage with the flooring that only I can only do with Tom. So I'm having to wait. I think tomorrow I could start doing interior walls in the bathroom and replacing the panels in there. I could probably start doing that, but as far as the floor goes, I can't do too much about it. So right now I've got a huge chunk, um, probably about two full subflooring panels. I don't know what is that, 5 foot by I don't know what it is. I think it's like 84 inches by, so it's longer than that. I don't know. It's big. Two of them that width. I think it's 48 by 84 or something like that. So double that in width, and that's how big a hole I got in my floor. So one place in the floor is enough where I could put a piece of subflooring in. It's not screwed in or anything like that, but it is there. But the other one, because it's got where the toilet flange is and the vent and stuff, we just having to do piecemeal with other lumber and put around it, and then I've got carpet on top of that. Well, I've still got some gaps, and so I've got had to throw blankets and quilts and all that other stuff to keep the drafts down, and that's working. In fact, though, I have a heater down here at my feet that blows. So if you start hearing a whirring on occasion, that's where the heater is blowing on my feet because there's still a draft. This house is drafty. It's full of holes, so there's not much I can do about it. I'm working on it, but that's all I could do. But I think I could start pulling off some of the old interior paneling and check my insulation, and because I've got a roll of insulation I can put in there if I need to, and then I've got some nice pretty. I mean, it's okay. The old paneling wasn't bad, but it was just so damaged, and the new stuff is just white, but I like it, so I'm going to have to put that on it, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. So at least I've made some progress on that. This project has been much taken much longer than I had anticipated, and so yeah, and like I said, the thunder sleep was cool this morning. I liked it. And Tom was worried about me doing chores this morning. And as long as I can keep my hands relatively warm, I don't mind going out and doing chores, even with because we've had a wind chill too. I think the wind chill has been in the single digits. And I can do cold, but I don't do cold wind very good. But if I bundle up right, I do okay. So another thing, last Saturday, since I had spoken to you guys, I got to do another beekeeping talk, which is kind of strange to me. That's interesting because we haven't done beekeeping in a few years, but it's been really cool to go back. I mean, of course, I've had to done some research to remember a bunch of stuff too. The first beekeeping talk I gave, it was just for a small room full of ladies. I think there was 10 or 15 ladies in there, and they asked me to do this other one. It was kind of funny because I didn't know how long I was going to be talking. At first, she told me it's going to be 10 minutes. And then about 10 minutes before it's time to go in there, she goes, "Oh, no, you got 45 minutes." I'm thinking, "Oh, well, okay." So it was neat. And I think there was about 40 or 50 people in that room. So that was a little intimidating because, you always got somebody in there who knows something about bees. And sure enough, there was a young man in there that knew stuff about bees. But it was kind of cool to have him in there because he could ask questions. I'm going, I could tell him, well, I don't know, but oh, that's cool or some whatever. But or no, or I can, in all honesty, uh, give him my opinion on it, and I could tell him it was my opinion. And I think it went well. Well, it's kind of cool because whenever I was done, I had a lot of questions, and that was pretty cool too. And the lady who asked me to come speak, apparently she wasn't in the room. But when I left the room, I went up to her and I said, "I think I did okay." She goes, "Oh, yeah, you did great." And I said, "How do you know?" She goes, "Because I asked everybody as they came out the room. They said you did a good job." I'm thinking, well, okay. Well, I didn't get kicked out or anything like that. So that's cool. So I enjoyed doing that talk. I was intimidated. It was pretty, but it was pretty cool. It was at they were doing an expo for local foods and stuff to advocate for farmers markets and other kinds of ways of getting local food. And they actually, what they did at the Votech nearby, they actually had, I think, about 15 or 20 kids that were taking culinary arts at the Votech. And they made our lunch for us, and that was nice. It was cool to visit with them a little bit too. They did a good job. Of course, I'm sure they had supervisors with them and stuff. But it was a nice meal that had enough of a variety in it that I could eat a few things. As with my food allergies, it kind of gets into be a challenge, and that's fine because if I can't eat their food, I can come home and eat. There's no big deal. So those are kind of the farm happenings, with the second beekeeping talk and getting the floor pulled up and the thunder sleep. Today, my three things were yoga exercises at home. Okay, because we got up this morning. First thing I noticed that they canceled school this morning, so I didn't have to take the girls to school. And then I got to notice that there was not going to be any gym class today either because of the weather. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just do yoga at home. Well, I know better. Or if it's just regular weather and stuff, then I can do it. But if it's going to be cold like this house has too many drafts, and I don't exercise at home. I mean, that sounds really strange. You can warm up, but it's yoga, and I'm getting down to you know skimpier clothes that I can bend in, and I don't want to get into. I didn't want to get into clothes that I can bend in and do stuff in and be cold. So I just didn't do. So number one of my three things was yoga exercises at home, and I did not do that. Number two was a podcast, and that's what I'm doing now. So that's pretty cool. And number three was video work. I had a lot of it. Always have a lot of video work. We had a basketball game. I always take um, video of Kenzie's basketball games, and I take it home and record it. Not record. What I do is I watch the clips and record what happened on that clip, and I label them and catalog it and stuff. So I do that, and that takes a lot of time. And then I've had all the work that we did on the bathroom floor. I had to get that cataloged and stuff too. So I've got a lot of video work, and I'm getting stuff out on my YouTube channel, but I've still got a lot that I have not gotten out there. And I'm sorry for you guys if you are on video, you're watching me itch and scratch and stuff. It's I've got I haven't been feeling great, and I'll get into that here in a few minutes. But yeah, I'm itchy, and that's not unusual. what I'm reading, I'm still working on Atomic Habits by James Clear. And so I was going to read you a couple of excerpts of that. I think, let me see, find where I'm at. Oh, this is, look, see what chapter this is. It might still be on chapter 1 for all I remember. Let me look. Yep, we're still on chapter 1. So on page 23, it says to forget about goals and focus on systems instead. And prevailing wisdom claims that the best way to achieve what we want in life is to set specific, actionable goals. For many years, this was how I approached my habits too. Each one was a goal to be reached. I set goals for the grades I wanted to get in school, for the weights I wanted to lift in the gym, for the profits I wanted to earn in business. I succeeded at a few, but I failed at a lot of them. Eventually, I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals I had set and nearly everything to do with the systems that I followed. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. So you can set the goals, but you've got to put the systems in place to help you to achieve the goals. Goal. Everybody sets a goal. I can't remember where I heard this just a week or so ago. Everybody sets goals, but only those who set the systems or do the work actually achieve them. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. Let me find my next one. All right, on page 26. The problem with a goals first mentality is that you're continually putting happiness off until the next milestone. And what he means by that is, okay, oh, I'll be happy when I get my house built, or I'll be happy when I lose 50 pounds, or I'll be happy whenever this or that happens. And you got to learn to be happy while you're working toward those goals. So don't restrict your happiness to your goals. Ultimately, it is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. Okay, if you're having trouble, let me phrase that. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong systems for change. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So that was all the rest of that for chapter 1. And I think that gives you perspective that helps you keep things into a different perspective, because like I said, people make goals. I mean, and I know it's the end of January, but people set goals and want to set the goals, and as soon as they, or New Year's resolutions and stuff. Of course, they say that resolutions is the first time you break them, was the first time you just go, okay, forget it, I can't do it, and go back to your old habits. So, and then when you're setting your goals, if you're not seeing any progress, like I was talking about in the last one, was talking about the ice cube in a 25-degree room, and it's getting warmer and warmer, but it's still below 32 degrees, and you're doing the work and you're doing the stuff, but you're not seeing any change. That ice cube is still frozen, but as soon as it hits 32 degrees, you start seeing the change. Well, that's the same thing with the rest of the goals and stuff too. Keeping your systems in place, even if you're not seeing progress, and then your goals will come about. It may take a lot longer than what you want it to do, but they will come about if you just keep at your systems and keep working at it. My quote of the day: most people spend their entire lives on a fantasy island called Someday Isle. And that's a play on words, like like an island or isle, but this is a short for Someday I Will. So, and this is by Dennis Waitley. What he said, and so let's say this again. Most people spend their entire lives on a fantasy island called Someday Isle. And I even as you get older, you hear people saying something like that. Yes, I'd like to do that someday. Maybe one of these days we can go on a cruise. Maybe one of these days we can go visit the family, and someday we'll do this and someday we'll do that. And then it comes to a point where, well, I'm getting up in years. I can't just do that. Well, I get, and then you die with these regrets. And I think that is one of the bases of why I am doing this. I am trying to learn how to do podcasts. I am trying to learn how to edit videos and get them out. I've been doing the YouTube channel for a lot of years, but different technology comes up and different techniques comes up that you want to try. Now, I don't get too far into that, but I do some editing, and it takes a little bit of practice and work, and so just I'm not going to quit. And you shouldn't either. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So quit visiting the island called Someday Isle. Just get things done. This is your life. This is it, guys. And I want to see people, and I want to hear about people who have made up their mind that they're not going to put off life any further. I'm not asking you to quit your job. I'm not trying to ask you to run away from home, even though sometimes that does sound really good. But I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to pay attention to what you want in life, pay attention to what your systems are to get what you want, and don't give up. And it isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. Right now, because there's two or three reasons I'm itching all the time. I have some sort of autoimmune disease, and it does slow me down on occasion. I can go and go and go and go and go, and all of a sudden I'm crashing, and I itch all over. My face breaks out, my body breaks out. I have extreme fatigue. And then, so like right now, my eyes and my neck and the right side of my face are really itchy and acting up. Part of it is because I've got an indoor cat now, but not all of it. If I keep the cat away from me in general, it works out. Yeah, Sydney is now officially the indoor cat, and things have calmed down. He's not, well, because I didn't know any better. I've never had cats necessarily. I've got the barn cat, but every time I threw him out, he was working everything way he could to get back in. But now that I've got all the holes closed up that he can't get back in once I throw him out, I've realized that he is an indoor cat. So we've got him a kitty litter box, and he's doing a good job. He's a good cat. I'm just still allergic to them, so that makes me itch too. And I don't believe that's what's caused the autoimmune issue, because that's been coming on for a couple of weeks and stuff anyway. And I finally crashed, and that's part of the reason I haven't put a podcast out in probably 10 days, something like that, is because I crashed. Uh, just I was fatigued, and I just have to sleep and get over it and keep. And I mean, I keep going, but I can't do a lot of things that I used to do. Even this morning, I had to. I'm getting better in a lot of ways, but I had to break up unloading the feed. I did a bunch this morning, and I did the rest of it this afternoon because I just got tired. And when I go to the gym, the instructors know that I have bad days, and I will do my best, but I might be just laying on the floor trying to get my energy back, because I've done that. When I first started having trouble with this autoimmune disease, it was kind of a trip. I think it was in 2008 when we were planting the vineyard. The fatigue was incredible. I would be crawling on my hands and knees, and uh, putting the grapevines in the holes that we had just done, and then I would just have to lay down for a few minutes in the field and rest, and then I get up and call a few more, and plant a few more grapevines, and then lay down and rest again. And it was pretty pathetic, but that's how tired I was, and I was sleeping 14, 16-hour days sometimes when I first started having trouble with this autoimmune issue. And the doctor told me he doesn't know what kind it is, but I have something, and if I wanted to do more tests, he could let me know what it is. And I'm going, nah, I can deal with it. So between this flare of autoimmune and the cat allergies, I've been having some difficulties, but you keep going. You're tired, but you keep going. Just not as hard, and not as well. I get crabby. I'm sorry, everyone. I apparently I pushed myself, and my family knows after a certain point, you better get away from me because I am crabby. So my main subject is to keep going despite how you feel. Yeah, you might have to slow down, you might have to rest, you might have to take a few days off even if you get sick or something like that. But you keep going. On Saturday, we worked hard Saturday. My pigs need to be moved. And so we moved the pigs, and that worked out good. And I've got videos coming out on that too that I'm in the process of editing and getting out. And then that same day, we moved my adult birds, the chickens and the ducks. And that's always a big undertaking. And then we came inside and finished pulling up the bathroom floor. And to all of you guys who are young, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I was whipped. I was whipped that day. And I felt good about the work that we got done finally, but I was just flat whipped and I was tired. And I had scheduled myself to do a podcast that night. And I listened to Toolman Tim and I see how dedicated he is to putting out podcasts. I listen to Nicole Sauce and see how dedicated she is. Jack Spirko, Brian Alexovich, all of these guys, and they work so hard. And none of us that we all have days where we just don't feel like doing something. And in general, I try to follow that line of thinking too. I don't care if I don't feel like it. Get up and get it done anyway. But I have to admit, that Saturday night, I was so well. I fell asleep in the recliner, and I don't ever do that. So I did not do a podcast that night. And I could be upset with myself for not doing it. But every once in a while, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace too, and just get the rest and try again the next day. And as long as you try again the next day, don't say, "Oh, I'm not going to do it," and then say, "And I'll just do it tomorrow." And then you get up the next day, "Well, I didn't do it last night, so I'm not going to do it today either." That's not how that was is supposed to be. There are going to be times when you just can't do it for one reason or another, not just because you're ill or you're old or anything like that. That or something comes up, and you just get up the next day and you do what you can do. So yeah, I didn't do a podcast that night. I did feel bad about not doing it, but I'm doing it now and I'm going to work hard to do them more often because I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy doing a little bit of research and because in one way it kind of helps me to focus on what it is that I'm really trying to do, what it is that what do I want to talk to you about? Why do I want to talk to you about it? And how would that help other people, or will it help other people, or is it just going to be entertaining? So, it helps me to focus on a few things too. So I'm enjoying doing this and I'm trying, and I think I'm finally making some progress on getting it on just audio. I've got at this point that I'm recording this, I've got 3 podcasts on audio too. Ooh, so that's exciting too, guys. I actually am on iTunes and Stitcher and all those other things. I don't think I haven't done Fountain yet. I haven't gone on Fountain to get that set up, but I was just real proud to get that done. So if you want to watch me and watch the glare on my glasses, then you can go to, this Grandma's Life podcast on YouTube. And then if you want to do the earbuds thing like so many others do, which I prefer when I'm listening to somebody, I don't want to sit down and watch somebody talk, but that's the only thing I know. I knew how to do it at the time. So I'm still doing this. I'm not doing live stream anymore. That didn't work out for me because then you couldn't find me when I did live stream. It didn't show up on the video part of it on YouTube. So I'm doing pre-recording and then uploading it. And so that's what I'm trying to do too. So now I've got audio, and part of the reason it's taken me so long to just do the audio is I'm trying to learn how to strip the audio off of the video and get things like that. I don't know. I'm learning a lot. So I'm glad to be getting that done. But yeah, I'm on iTunes and Stitcher and all those others now. Whatever y'all listen to the podcast, there's a real good chance it'll be on that, so you can listen to it. I'm glad I'm doing that. Okay, my story of the day. I've actually got a couple of stories. One of them is okay. So when we moved the birds on Saturday, um, because of the way my birds are already out in the morning, I don't keep them in their mobile egg unit. I don't have a system set up to do that. So my birds are already out and about, squawking and going around looking for stuff. So when we go out there and we stir them up when we're moving the mobile egg unit. We're taking up we're taking up the electric fence, hooking up to the trailer, hooking up the mobile egg unit to Tom's truck. And the mobile egg unit is so lame. It's got one tire is flat and the other one is so flat that the tread is coming off of it. It's basically on the rim, but it's in a field, so we don't care. And we haven't changed it because it's from a that we put the mobile egg unit on an axle that was from, I don't know, I think the 70s, and they don't even make that axle anymore. So one of these days, if I get where I want to do it, we may redo that. But I mean, that just means that basically I need to replace the axle and the hubs or whatever to put updated tire wheels on it so I can have updated tires. But right now I've just got really lame, one flat tire and the other one is basically on the rim, and we pull that around. Um, but so I've got birds going everywhere, and we got we got them set up in a new paddock, and it's got grass and it's so much nicer. But one hen got away, mainly because she got spooked because Beethoven was trying to check her out, and Beethoven wasn't trying to kill her or anything. He was just checking her out, and then because she squawked and flew, he chased her, and she ended up spending the night in the barn. I tried to catch her that evening, but I was unable to catch that hen. And the next morning, I went out there to feed the birds, and she was in the barn still, and I was able to catch her. But oh my gosh, she squawked like I've never heard a bird squawk, just loud and long. And I had grabbed her by the tail, and she fought so violently I was losing her with tail feathers. Had to grab her by the leg, and she was still fighting violently, squawking and squawking and squawking. And I finally got her tucked in. I'm trying to calm her down, walking her back to where the rest of the chickens are. And she's in my face squawking the entire time. It's like, golly, bird, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm trying to put you back with the rest of your. This, of course, obviously, as soon as she got back in there, yeah, she flopped down onto the ground and walked around like, yep, here I am, and was fine after that. But that is the noisiest bird I'd ever heard. I had never heard a bird carry on like that before. But got him in there. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit on this other story. You remember how we talked about Sydney was underneath the house and he kept coming up through the hole and all that other stuff? Well, we got the hole covered, and Sydney's in the house, and I'm hearing something else underneath the house. And I found out from Ken Esh's sister Katie. She's because I thought these animals were inside of the duct, but she's saying no, because she's had an issue like this before, and they're on top of the duct and walking along. I thought, oh, that makes better sense, because even though my duct is open, it's really jagged. It's not inviting for anything to get up in there inside of it anyway. So I've got some other critter, and every once in a while, if you hear a thunk, it's because it's underneath in there now, and it's crazy. So, and it's not Mopar, my barn cat. He's been jealous because Sydney's in the house, and he doesn't want to come in the house, but he wants me to come out on the front porch and visit him. And so I'm gonna have to go out there and give him a little extra love and stuff too. But I'm hearing funking underneath the house. Mopar's on the front porch, and Sydney's in the living room. There's something else underneath there. So we've got one of those have a heart traps, but I don't think this one's big enough. I think this one, the one we have, is for squirrels, and I'm pretty sure it's an opossum. I'm pretty sure that's what's underneath there. But the first night on Saturday, when we had pulled the floor and we put all the scrap stuff down, I'm going to call it an opossum because I think that's what it is. Because Kenzie said, well, I shooed one out of the barn a couple of weeks ago, and then Kenzie said she saw one standing on the north end of the house by the hole where these animals have been getting in. So I'm pretty sure it's the opossum. But it had crawled up there and it was scratching on the underside of this wood. And I'm thinking, oh man. And I don't know. I didn't know how well we had thrown these boards down, and I wasn't sure it was a possum. I just knew something was scratching on the bottom of my floor and wanting to get in. And Tom was in the living room watching television after I'd already gone to bed. But I got up. I said, all right, Tom, I need you to come in here, and I'm going to lift this piece of rug, and if something comes out, I want you to, yeah, like he's going. He came in there to help me. But I don't, honestly, if something was trying to come in, it would have gotten in. I guess I just felt like I needed a witness. I don't know, but we checked. The holes were covered. And I think just us moving around kind of startled the animal off a little bit. I mean, he's still underneath there, but at least he's not scratching on the underneath side of my floor. That was a little unnerving. I won't lie. So I'm glad that's over. At least that part of it. We're going to figure out. I don't know where. I don't want to buy another have a heart trap, a bigger one. I'm going to see if I can borrow one from somebody and see if I can get this thing so I can close this hole up. I don't want to close the hole up and with the animal still underneath there, and I want to get it out and get it closed up good for then. Okay, so those are my stories of the day. Income producing activity. I'm still doing the fold card. You'll see that link in the show notes down below. Um, that is a really handy. It's just a prepaid debit card. You mean you fund the debit card. You do whatever money you put on it is what you spend on it, and when you make a purchase, then you earn satoshis, which are just little mini bytes of Bitcoin, and you can even spin a wheel to see if you can earn extra or win or whatever, get more satoshis and stuff. Um, it doesn't cost you anything. There are no fees or no sign up fees or anything like that. You just prepay the debit card and you get the card too. You have to apply for the card. I mean, it's just a prepaid debit card, but I mean, for a physical card, you can do things online and stuff without a physical card, I believe. But to if you're going to do it, get the card and have the card number, and be able to use it. When I have to go to the store, I use it for my purchases at the store. When Kinsey wants something, or buying fuel or whatever. And a lot of people have got it set up where they can pay most of their bills with their phone card, and they're earning lots of good satoshis with it, and it's stacking up. And it even tells you on the app how much you've earned and what it's worth on the current day of the Bitcoin exchange. And so I don't know, it's really cool. It's a way to get Bitcoin without buying it necessarily. I still invest in Bitcoin, and but I don't do any of the rest of the other ones, but I do just Bitcoin because it was kind of the original, and the science behind, not the science, but the math behind it is, it's just more logical to me. And but it is a good way to earn some Bitcoin, and buy stuff that you're going to buy anyway. So go ahead and go down to the link below and sign up for it, get your card, and start using it. I think you'll be pretty pleased with it. So that's my income producing activity of the day. And that's pretty much all I've got. We're working on grandma's homestead.farm. That's my new website. I'm still trying to, I'm doing some blogging. I think I did some blog, but apparently I pushed the wrong button and it didn't publish. So it doesn't look like I've done anything with it, but I have. I just haven't figured out how to do it right yet. And I've got somebody helping me with that, and I'm really grateful for that too. But I'm going to get it set up where there's going to be a lot of cool things I want to do with this website once I figure out how to get it done. So if nothing else, you can go on there and give a little quick look and see grandma's homestead.farm and watch out as I learn how to use it, and watch it morph as it does. My YouTube channel is Grandma's Homestead. Um, that's the name of the YouTube channel. I've also got Farm Animal Life YouTube channel. That one is just where I stick a camera in with some animals, usually some chicks or ducklings or something like that, and there's no storyline, just sticking a camera in there. Um, I'm on Instagram as Thesia Ellis, TikTok at Thesia Ellis, Facebook, Thesia V. Dayhoff Ellis. MeWe, I've been doing some, not so much on MeWe. A lot of we did a push for a long time to do MeWe, and that was working out pretty good for a long time. But it kind of seems to be dying. It's kind of going by the way of, was it MySpace or something like that? It just seems to be kind of dying. And then Twitter. I don't do much on Twitter, but the only thing I do on Twitter is post my videos. But I'm learning. I'll get there. And that's where you can find me. And like I'm saying, or I'm always say this, and I want to be an example to you to live until you die. Live and do what you want to do Get up every day, find something that gets you up off the couch, find something that gets you off the recliners, find something that has you turning off the television, so that when you meet God or in whatever form you believe in, you can say, yeah, I'm nobody and I didn't do anything good, but I did my very best. I lived my life. And that's kind of the philosophy that I'm trying to live by. When I meet God, I don't want him to feel like that I've spent my life in front of the television or spent my life doing not doing things that he put me on this earth to do. So I pray that this kind of sinks in and helps you to get your life the way you want it to be. And even when you don't feel good, because that's going to happen sometimes, give yourself some grace, but live, guys. God bless. I'll see you next time.